How are you today? It's Melissa with Hang In There. I'm grateful to all of you listening right now. Thank you for helping us spread our message. To anyone feeling hopeless today, we extend hope. To those of you who pressed play today as a quiet act of resistance, I see you. I am honored to be a small part of helping you reclaim your power. To anyone who has ever felt like a failure for being trapped in the cycle of abuse, please hear this. You are not a failure. You are surviving something meant to break you. We've got you. Your story is not over. To everyone who has escaped, you are inspirational, and may you heal. To all who have been abused or are currently living through it, along with everyone who has been affected by abuse, we fight for you, and we understand. You are not alone anymore. I drove to the courthouse by myself and parked my car. I knew what a huge risk it was, a potentially dangerous step. I was as reassured as I could be. I had made phone calls and done research for nearly a month. I felt that I finally had a chance to protect us. Yes, I had been so beaten down and had such little faith in the system that it took me nearly a month to gather the courage to take the chance, and I had a good chance. I had brought with me over 12 years of documentation that had been hidden around my house. I brought my pieces of orange construction paper that I had hidden in diapers full of dates and descriptions of abuse. I brought my sheets of documents I had hidden in my camera case, sheets of descriptions of abuse I had hidden in between clothes in my closet. I had my random pieces of paper with me. I remember them, some folded so small, making sure the diaper they were in wouldn't look abnormal. And some hardly folded, so thin, making sure that the clothes they were hidden in would look undisturbed and neat. And then the papers folded to the exact size of my camera's charger. My precious hidden proof. I thought about the documents I had disposed of during moments of hope, when I truly thought things would be different, that he would change. I thought of the documents I had disposed of during moments of fear, when I was afraid he would find them, and I couldn't risk them being around. But I did have some with me, quite a lot, what I felt would be enough. That time. That time, he messed up. He went too far, to the point where I was confident I had a case, and I had to try. I composed myself, reassured myself. I forced myself to get out of my car, and I found the strength to walk into that courthouse, alone, terrified. I walked up to the self-help clerk slowly, carefully, hiding behind that fake smile that I had perfected for over 15 years, and politely and quietly asked for the paperwork I needed to file for an order for protection. I was shaking. I was sick to my stomach. I was so incredibly afraid, completely dissociating, in and out, watching myself go through the motions, doing what had to be done, protecting. I know that I was in there for hours, writing down all of the dates and events of abuse that I had endured, that my kids had endured. Just writing, watching from above myself, begging for the judge to help me, to help us. I understood the gravity of my situation. It was uncertain and horrifying. The judge had to grant it. Or else what would happen to me? What would happen to my children? I had to be as thorough as possible. I had to sound articulate. This was my chance. And it was all riding on this judge's opinion and how well I presented my case on paper. Over 12 years of documentation. I remember the fear. I remember the hope. I remember the embarrassment, the shame I felt being in that cubicle, filling out an application for an order for protection. How was that my life? I couldn't have pictured anything further from the future I had envisioned for myself and for my beautiful kids. It felt as if all of my dreams had been shattered. I recalled the moments when hope flickered, when I truly believed things would get better, but then was blindsided with a sting of disappointment and the confusion that accompanied it when my hope was gone. I remembered the days when I felt it was impossible to keep living the way I was, and the shameful moments where I just had to do whatever he wanted, be whoever he wanted, in order to make life easier. I was reminded of moments early on when I still believed I could make him understand, when I thought if I just said the right thing, in the right way, he would change. And then I remembered when I realized he never would. The moments where I was hopeless, when I saw no end in sight. As I sat alone in that cubicle at the courthouse, the years replayed in my mind. How did something that appeared to be so wonderful in the beginning turn into this? I felt betrayed. Digging for the strength to complete the paperwork and submit it to the clerk, I had to focus on the small acts of resistance I had quietly built over the years. Each tiny act was a huge step in reclaiming a little piece of my power. The smallest victories, they fed my soul. They kept me pushing ahead. And I'm certain that each quiet act of resistance had built on the last, each of them empowering me and finally carrying me to that moment. The moment I found the strength to hand the self-help clerk my paperwork. To this day, I cannot remember handing it over. I cannot remember submitting it. I don't remember driving back to my house at the time. I don't remember anything else from that day. And I don't remember exactly how long it took for me to learn that the judge had granted the order for protection for me and my child. I remember telling my kids. I remember feeling grateful that someone finally was helping us. I was relieved. I was proud of myself. I was scared and hopeful and terrified. All of those emotions were entangling me, sharp and suffocating. But above them all, I was struck with a very heavy, dark, and looming sensation. The unknown. I thought, now what do I do? I was informed that I should get a lawyer. I had no money for a lawyer. I decided to approach my parents, who I didn't have a healthy relationship with anymore due to years of isolation, shame, and frustration. I had to borrow money from them that they didn't have. More embarrassment, more shame. Over a very short period of time, I witnessed nearly everything I had fought so hard for, my plans, my boundaries, my hope, deteriorate, just disappear. Day after day, the rules meant to protect us were broken and ignored. And before I knew it, unsupervised visitation was forced upon us. Everything I'd worked so hard to build in order to help us feel safe was getting stripped away, and nobody seemed to care. I kept thinking, what was the benefit of being granted the order for protection if the safeguards wouldn't last? If the protections in place were not monitored and could so easily be broken? I felt we were certainly no better off than we were before. In fact, I felt less safe. I was drowning, questioning myself. What did I do? I was forced to make a decision before it was too late. After everything, what I had endured, what my children had endured, after my attempts to protect myself, and the promises of a more secure and healthy environment I'd made to my children, after standing up for myself and for my kids in a very public way, I was forced to take him back. Not because I wanted to, but because the system left me no other choice. I felt that we were safer returning to the exact danger that I tried so hard to save us from than to continue fighting. And I felt like a failure. To this day, the only promises I have ever broken to my kids are the ones I made when I truly felt we were finally safe, when I believed the law would protect us. The law broke its promise to us, and I was left having to absorb the blame, more guilt, more shame, and the heartbreak of witnessing disappointment in my children's eyes. They thought I was weak. They thought I could not stand up to him. I was heartbroken. I was forced back into pretending, suffering, and protecting, as if all of my pain, all of the sleepless nights that I spent making myself sick over obtaining that order for protection, never even happened. Never mattered. All of the planning, all of the hope, all of my tears, the worrying, then the short celebration, then the despair, it all felt like it was for nothing. I had let my kids down. I had never seen them so upset at me, and I was shattered. On top of that, I used my parents' money, and I had taken him back again. I felt I had insulted them. I felt they would never help me again. It was one of the lowest points in my life. I had no options. I literally felt that my children and I were trapped. After all, the law knew of the abuse and could not or did not prevent him from breaking the rules. They did not protect us. I felt powerless. Then I had an idea. I reached deep within myself and found the strength for just one more small and strategic act of resistance. I was fragile. I was nearly broken. But I held on to the little power that order for protection had given me. So that time, after I took him back, I asked for permission to go to college. Yes, as a 40-year-old woman, I felt I needed his approval. I needed options. I needed a way out, one that I could count on, and one that I could control. I knew the game. Things would get bad again, or even worse. It was that last small, deliberate, and quiet act of resistance that I carefully chose, that was fueled by what little power I had left, that set us free. No matter where you are in this very unpredictable and vicious cycle of abuse, please know any small act of resistance can be the one that leads you to your freedom. Please never lose hope. Sometimes all it takes is one single spark of courage or one quiet idea to shift or transform your life. Please just try. I was a force to be reckoned with when it came to my kids. I found some power in that. I couldn't always prevent the abuse and the hurtfulness from happening to my kids, but when it did, I stepped in. How much I intervened would depend on the situation, on how intense it was, how angry he was, how close the edge felt. I had to determine it quickly in order to minimize damage done. It was really hard. The small victories where I stood up for my kids, though, they helped me. They helped me feel strong, and they reminded me that even when he made me feel powerless, I had strength in me. I also decided to pour my energy into controlling whatever I could for myself. I knew that I needed to be healthy. I felt that I could not afford to get sick. I had to be present and fit for my kids. I was worried about who would raise them if I wasn't able to. So I learned all I could about nutrition and began to exercise. I exercised almost every day that I could. I bought every Jillian Michaels DVD that was available for over a decade. I bought her kettlebell. I would do whatever it took to get to buy those exercise DVDs. Waking up every morning and doing something for myself, by myself, in the house, of course, brought me glimpses of hope, strength, and confidence. I memorized them. I know it sounds silly, but I felt as though Jillian was speaking directly to me sometimes, telling me that I was stronger than I knew, and not to ever give up. Sometimes I would cry while working out. Just sob. Just let the stress out. Let the sadness out. Then at the end of the videos, Jillian would talk. I would cool down, lay on the floor, sweaty, sometimes wet with tears, and just close my eyes and listen to her. What she would say really resonated with me, almost in a bizarre way. I did not need to lose weight, but I needed her. I needed the natural endorphins exercise brought to my mind. I needed a friend who pushed me to be better, who pushed me out of my comfort zone so I could see what I was capable of. Exercise showed me I was strong, I was healthy, and I was enough. Oh, don't get me wrong. I paid a price for taking time to exercise. I was told I was making myself too tired to do anything else. I was told that I was obsessed. I was told that I had obsessive-compulsive disorder. And I was told I looked like a man. I was told that I was gay because I liked Jillian Michaels too much. I paid a price for putting myself first for 30 to 60 minutes in the morning when no one else was even awake. I was told I was being selfish, but I kept doing it anyway. The more he pushed, the more I exercised. It was my act of resistance, the one thing I did for myself, and I was good at it. I was so strong, not just physically, but I noticed that I was building strength mentally. Someday I plan to let Jillian Michaels know just how much she helped me. I hope to thank her in person. She was one of the people who helped save me. The small acts of resistance, little attempts to get some power back, are so important. Mine were found in defending my kids and in taking care of myself, exercising and eating well. I could control how I treated my body, and I had control when it came to my kids. When a person is living in an abusive environment, or even while they're recovering from abuse, just the idea of resistance can feel scary and overwhelming. It can be dangerous. I want to explain that you must be careful and decide when you feel it's safe. I've mentioned this before, but positive self-talk is a great start. It's safe and private. It is quiet and strategic. It is powerful and it works. It helps self-esteem and it helps to rebuild a survivor's sense of self. Abuse strips away a victim's sense of identity and self-worth. You could use positive self-talk to empower yourself, especially when you're isolated or feeling alone or defeated. Saying things out loud or in your mind, such as, "I'm worthy of love and respect. I'm doing my best. I'm strong and honest. My feelings are valid. I am not going crazy." Or, "I matter, and I have a voice." The small and quiet acts are still very powerful. They remind a survivor that they do not have to be a passive recipient of abuse. You can internally and privately reject your abuser's comments by thinking to yourself, "That is not true," or "You don't define me." Another very safe, small act of resistance that can give you power could be holding a memory in your mind that is happy or motivating, or smiling internally about your hope for your future. Visualize a different life for yourself and hold on to that picture. An abuser cannot take your thoughts from you. Some more helpful examples of acts of resistance can include lying to your abuser, defending your children from abuse, standing up for yourself if it is safe, hiding money for yourself, confiding in someone, putting your health first for some time each day, obtaining an order for protection, or calling an advocate at a shelter for more information or help. You can make any act of resistance specific to your personal circumstance. So let's think about this right now. Let's daydream for a moment. What is one small thing in your life that you wish you could control? Let's try to reclaim some control. I know what it's like not to have options, not to be able to choose, And if you do, it always seems to be wrong. I know. Is there any way you could control 10 or 20 minutes of your time each day to do what you want with it? Nap, exercise, play a game. Can you think of any way to get control over your own voice? Maybe you could journal, or confide in someone, or confide in an advocate at a shelter. Advocates at domestic violence shelters are extremely knowledgeable. They're trained to help survivors. They can talk through the pros and cons of choices you may be struggling with. They can help with developing safety plans and can offer valuable information about abuse in general, but also about housing options, food banks, therapy, and how to obtain legal services. Can you think of any way to gain control when it comes to your body? Have you ever been afraid to wear certain clothes that you liked because you would be ridiculed or accused of looking for attention if you did wear them, leading to comments such as, "Who are you trying to impress?" Or, "I don't know why you are so confident." Have you ever felt afraid to bend over in front of people because you would be accused of inviting others to look down your shirt, and then becoming afraid to wear V-neck shirts anymore? Think about the power we could take back by wearing some of the clothes we like. Small acts of resistance. What can we do to gain some control back when it relates to money? Money is power, and if you don't have any money of your own, it can trap you. It can make you dependent on your abuser. Saving even the smallest amounts of money over time can be life-changing. I also know just how difficult it can be if money is closely monitored or if you don't have your own bank account. If you aren't feeling comfortable or safe hiding money in the house, could you give it to a family member or a trusted friend? I know many survivors are very isolated, so let's explore the idea of opening your own bank account. I know that is a huge act of resistance and a very scary one. It should make you nervous, and that is okay. Remember this, just because it makes you afraid doesn't mean that you can't do it. Be careful and plan. It is not about rushing. Your safety always comes first. It is about building something that belongs to you, something private and safe. It is about creating a backup plan, giving yourself options, taking back a bit of power. Remember, you don't need to use the bank account right now, and you don't even need to tell anyone if you don't want to. Just the act of opening the bank account is incredibly empowering. It is such an impactful step toward reclaiming your freedom, but you need to be smart. Please use a safe name and mailing address. If it's too risky for you to get mail where you live, maybe you could use a trusted family member or friend's address. You could also look into getting a P.O. box. Or you could ask a shelter advocate for more ideas for a safe mailing option. You could go online, maybe at a library where it's safe and unmonitored, and look for online banks where you can open an account without needing to visit in person. But remember to select paperless statements. If you are comfortable and confident in your knowledge of email, you could create a new email address, one where you can make it a different name. But be sure to turn off that email's notifications and only check that email on private devices or unmonitored internet. If you could get friends or family members financial help at all, they could deposit money for you. Or you could deposit leftover money from grocery shopping, or money you find possibly laying around the house. A lot of stores offer the option to receive cash back during transactions. You could take a safe amount as often as possible. Other creative ways that you could get money could be saving up gift cards or returning purchases for cash. If you are computer savvy, you could try to sell items your abuser will never know are gone, such as jewelry, clothes, purses, or shoes. Think about what could change if you had money of your own. Let's stop for a moment and take a deep breath. I know this is overwhelming. Please breathe and try and focus. This is hard. Can you gently reach deep within yourself and find the courage to perform just one small act of resistance. Think about what you would do. Think about how you would feel. Think about taking just one small step toward freedom, and breathe. You don't have to jump. You don't have to run. You just need to begin, quietly if you want to, and safely, and most importantly, in your own time. You are stronger than you realize. You are quick to adapt, and you have navigated so much already every day. Find that strength, that resilience. It will help you take small and calculated steps toward a new life, one that is yours to live as you want. Being kind to yourself, speaking positive and reassuring words to yourself, calling and speaking to a shelter advocate, putting money in a safe place that is just for you, the small acts of resistance. But they are not small, are they? They are huge acts of courage, each one building on the last, moving you closer to hoping, healing, and reclaiming yourself. You definitely do not need to know everything. Paths change, circumstances change, but you can adapt. Just take one step at a time when you are ready. You will doubt yourself. You will feel sick and your heart will race. You may cry, but maybe in those moments, they will be tears of pride and hope that you are pushing forward, that you are realizing you deserve better. To every person listening right now, whether you are surviving in silence, have escaped and are healing, are finally free and are thriving, or are trying to be a supportive family member or friend, this community of millions, probably billions, all in different phases of surviving, is so incredibly proud of you. You matter. You are important. You carry immeasurable strength. You continue to rise, to show up for yourself, for your children, for your sister, for your mother, even when it feels as if the world, the system, offers no help, no safety, only judgment and roadblocks. You are inspirational. Please keep going. Too many of us are silenced, punished when we speak up, and haunted when we don't. We can't keep living this way. Studies show that up to 50% of domestic violence incidents go unreported. This is why awareness matters, why education and prevention matter. This proves just how isolated survivors are, how afraid of retaliation they are, how terrified of losing their children they are. That they would rather endure the abuse and pain in silence than put their trust in the systems that are supposed to protect them. We need to do better. I will take this on. I want to lift each of you up. I see you. I understand. I've got you. You are not alone. From where I am with all that I have, I want to protect you. I want to comfort you. I want to be the friend you don't have or the one that you need. I want to be the safety you're seeking. I want to offer you these things because I understand what it feels like to need them. And I need these things right now too, from you all. So let's keep going. Together we can help to create a world where no one has to walk through this alone. I want to thank you for choosing to spend part of your day with me. I know that your free time is precious, and that for some of you, even listening today may have been risky. I respect your act of resistance. I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to connect in this space with each of you. I hope your day feels brighter than it did, and I hope that you leave with a little more hope in your heart and trust in yourself. Please refer to hanginthere.net for some useful resources, And also remember that you can message me with questions, comments, or ideas you have right on the website. Feel free to subscribe or share. This will help us to amplify our message and strengthen our mission. Please spread the strength. And please hang in there. Your moment is coming. You do not have to be a passive recipient of abuse any longer. Find your power. One small act of resistance at a time. Thank you so much for listening.